Welcome back to Hey Hire Us. I'm Abigail.
I'm Ariel.
And today we are going to interview my friend and amazing storyboard artist, Tristan.
Yay! Welcome,
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
Welcome.
It's
Tristan,
me.
would you like to introduce yourself and who you are to our listeners?
Yeah, I'm Tristan Cabral. I am a storyboard artist focusing on comedy and little heartfelt moments. I love those moments. And so, yeah, I have been boarding for about a year now. And it's been so fun learning the storyboard world. So that's me.
Wow.
That's awesome. I met Tristan through, I guess, technically through Nisi, who's probably listening because they love, I'm like...
Oh yeah, Nisi loves the podcast. When I order from like Nisi's shop, shout out to Nisi, by the way. Nisi is like, I listen to every episode.
And it's
Nisi's
funny because
our number one fan.
she was like, you need to get on the podcast. And I was like, it's not up to me.
Now you're finally
Now you
here.
are. Now you're here.
I've made it.
Yeah, you made it. But yeah, Nisi invited me to Squad, which Tristan is the founder of. And it's basically a group of storyboard artists who get together and we work and we like each week we come together and share our progress, which has been really awesome. And it's been really amazing getting to know Tristan. And I can't wait to show and pitch him and like show how amazing he is to all of you. But yeah, I guess we can get started with our first corner. And if this is the first time you've listened to Hey Hire Us, we do little corners. And our most iconic one is the pitching corner, where our guest comes and pitches themselves, but with a twist. They do it either through a rap or infomercial or ASMR spoken word.
Wait, has someone done ASMR?
No, and I would
Ariel
ban them
threatens
immediately.
violence.
How does that work?
Just mute them. But I would love to hear someone do it ASMR.
Don't.
But yeah, there's musical style. No one has done musical style, which might change today. But yeah,
Hey.
Tristan, what have you prepared for us?
Yeah, so all my friends know that I write these. I'll take songs and I'll just change the lyrics and I'll just make them really stupid and I'll just do covers. I love doing that. I actually did an animatic of Bruno Mars's Versace on the floor and I just changed the words. It's so cheesy.
Yeah.
Oh my
But-
gosh, I love that.
But I did something like that today.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Finally, music.
I know.
Gonna sing. It's so funny. Abby was like, "Ooh, Tristan might sing for us," and I'm like, "You know what? I'm not surprised. Tristan's Filipino. It runs in our blood."
It is in my blood. It needs to come out.
Yes, it does. I'm so
Represent.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. So this is over the song by Stevie Wonder called Overjoyed, which is like one of my favorite songs. Okay. Over time, I've been building a portfolio just for you, filled with stories and info to reach me. I've come much too far for you now to say there's no hiring shows. Hire me anyway. And though you don't really know me, I don't work for free. For did my dreams come true when you hired me? And maybe you too, maybe too in me you believed. You too might be overjoyed, overloved. Hire me, hire me. That's it.
Oh my god!
Stevie
Again,
Wonder is
It
my
runs
favorite.
in the blood. And I
I
also do love
it.
Stevie Wonder. I love that song too. And I was just like, oh my god, exciting.
gosh. I remember hearing that song when I was like 13 and I'm like, what is this? This is
Oh my god,
one of the
yeah.
best
Stevie
songs
Wonder
in the world.
is a musical legend, and Yeah, oh my gosh, that was great.
I feel like that.
Thank you.
I feel like that's the clip. That was beautiful.
Wow. I
That's
was so nervous.
I'm not gonna use anything else. I'm like, everyone needs to listen to Tristan sing.
No.
So good. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy because ever since like I think the second episode where I'm like a musical Monday, everyone's like, I'm not gonna sing. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. And Tristan comes in like with the vocals. I'm like, yes, that's why you should hire him.
Yeah.
Hire me. I will sing in our pitches.
Yeah, hire him on a musical show. That'd be so much
Oh
fun.
my gosh, I would die.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you'd be perfect for that because your recent work from home board is so
It's so
good.
cute.
Oh,
It's so
thank you.
cute.
So good. Do
It
you want
was
to talk
so
about
fun.
like creating that? Because I would love to hear.
Yeah, so my mentor, I was kind of at this like really dry phase where I'm like, I don't know what to create. I just need some type of like challenge. And so I asked my mentor, I was like, you need to challenge me. And he was like, yeah, okay, do a 30-second sound clip. And that's it. And I was like, of anything? And he's like, yeah. And then so it sounded really fun. It wasn't high stakes. And I've always loved Stevie Wonder and Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Are like, that's like, and you will know, every Filipino, just like Whitney is like the queen.
Whitney is like the number one. Like every person will sing Whitney at like karaoke, and it will
every
it's like a requirement.
karaoke. It is a requirement that someone will have to sing "I Will Always Love You."
Yes.
It's just a thing. And then so, but I've always loved that song. That's like one of my pump up songs. I probably play it multiple times a week if I'm just like,
Same.
oh, I don't want to do anything. That and
Tristan's
Love on Top.
playlist, though.
Yes. So yeah, I chose that song. And it was just really fun. And it was literally me in my room. I'm like, what do I do when I look forward to something? And I just acted all of it out and I put it into animatic, danced in front of the mirror, recorded myself. And so
It's so fun. It's so relatable. I watched it and I was like, yup, that's me.
it's funny because
Oh
I
my gosh.
have a cat in the animatic. I'm like deathly allergic to cats, but I just find them so funny because they're like the complete opposite of me. They're just so cold and vile. Sorry for those who love cats, but yeah, I just thought it was funny.
Gosh. Like watching your process and like each iteration was so cool and such a joy, and you're so freaking fast. Like that's why you should hire Tristan, because he is so fast with his boards and his roughs are super, like all stages of his boards are super clean and clear. And I really enjoyed doing the critique sessions with Tristan because it was like so easy to see his vision. And that's what you like to see in a storyboard artist. So that's why you should hire Tristan. And it amazes me that you've only been storyboarding for 1 year.
Yeah,
That
for a
is
year.
crazy.
I was like, what? No kidding. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about like how like you didn't go to art school, you didn't study art. How did you go from that to deciding to pursue art and then to pursue storyboarding?
Storyboarding.
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved animation. I've always kind of in the back of my mind being like, that's an option. I'd love to pursue that at some point. But having immigrated and being the eldest son, there was just certain responsibilities that I like had. And so it was always my family first. And I wanted to make sure that we were as established as possible before I could pursue my dreams. And there is this like always like this constant tension that America says like pursue your dreams all the time, where it's like that's just not that opportunity is not provided for everyone, especially if you've just immigrated. Yeah, so for the first like 10 years after college, 8 years after college really, most of my mental and emotional like being went to like providing for my family, financial as well. And so, but until about 2 years ago, through a bunch of circumstances, my family kind of became more like stable. And so I was like, this is the time to go. I felt kind of burnt out from life. I got to the point in the organization that I was working for where I'm like, I don't want to go higher. I got here really fast. So I just want to try this. And so, and I'm like way older than everyone that I know in my classes. But I just remember being like, all right, in my 30s, this is kind of the time to really like take that chance. I don't want to be too old going into the industry, breaking in when I'm 40, which is totally fine if that's your reality. But for me, I was like, I really want a good like decade to be in the industry and to run with people who are funny and creative, and before like going beyond like maybe becoming a director, a showrunner. I don't know. Yeah. So all that to say, went to school 2 years ago, took my first storyboarding class last year because it took me a year to get the foundations right. And then stepped into that room. I was the worst person in that room, like by far, and applied myself really hard, and just loved it. I loved it from the first day. So,
I that's so crazy to me that you've only been storyboarding for a year, and I feel like your age shouldn't matter, and that's why I wish that I think there's more like trainee opportunities like that companies are doing, but I wish there was even more, because like you have to, like you said, like everyone's situation is very different. And I feel like you have to have opportunities for other people who couldn't didn't have the privilege of going to art school or like having their family behind them all the way to study to like go into animation. And especially when you have people like you who are super talented and super hardworking, and you grow so much in such a short time, and I feel like that matters more to me than like going to an art school recently. Like the fact that you grew so much due to just hard work, keep on grinding, keep on learning, keep on pursuing knowledge. Like it's not just talent, it's like you worked hard, you worked your butt off like every day to build up your foundations, build up your connections, and you're so generous in like your time and wanting to help other people, and that's more important to me than graduating like recently from art school. And I'm like, you can offer so much, and also you can offer so much to the industry with your knowledge of being older and having to work for your family and having to work at another company, and like you have so much knowledge and so much like not just like smarts, but like your emotional like
there's
knowledge.
So much life experience there.
Yeah, that emotional intelligence, that maturity, I think is super important as well.
Yeah, and I think something that I mean, I just know, I know who I am. I know the cards that I have, and I know the cards that I don't have. And I remember stepping into that room being, that first storyboarding room being like, I may not be anywhere near like even like the average storyboard artist here, but I do know, having worked in a different industry that is like so stressful, that I know how to like self-regulate. I know how to motivate myself. I know how to stay in the game even when I'm knocked down. Like these are skills that I've practiced for like years. That I think, I mean, not a lot of things could knock me down anymore. And then so I just apply those skills and transfer them to like, okay, like I just know how I intake information and how I can output, how I increase output. And so, yeah, I think the life experiences for sure equipped me to, I'm just a very efficient learner because I have learned how I learn. I have learned how I functioned in my 20s. And so, yeah. I think everyone kind of reaches this like, oh, this is who I am and this is how I function. Yeah. And then there is this like sharpening moment. I think most people reach it in their 30s, maybe 40s of like, oh, like now I understand how I actually like function as an individual and as a part of a team. Yeah. And so 20s, and honestly, in my 20s, I was just like, yeah, I wasn't as efficient. I wasn't as sharp. And so comes with age.
I'm like, some like studios might be like, we need young talent and whatever, but it's like you should also take chances on people who are older and trying to break in, because you have so much knowledge and you have so much experience that if they take a chance on you and bring you to onto the project, you'd probably be like really fast at like picking up everything. And especially if they know that you only been storyboarding for a year, and like how much, like where you're at now and how much progress that you made, that those are super important and really valuable traits that I would want to have in my storyboard artist. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, Tristan's so good.
Oh,
Please
thank
take
you.
a chance on him.
Yes. Take a chance on me.
Like, I met you, as I said, through Squad, and you're a creator of it. Like, do you want to talk about how that idea came into fruition and that whole like weekly cycle?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I was taking classes at Concept Design Academy in Pasadena, and we were ending our 10-week cycle, our term, and I just remember being like, "Whoa, I've learned so much, and I have so much information that needs to settle, and I need to practice it." And I just know the type of learning that best suits me is within like a community. And something that I do really well in my other job is I create structures for other people to function in. And so I knew that I, one, needed to grow in a community, and two, I have these like skills to create structures so that a community can function. And then so I remember looking into that room and be like, all right, who are the 6-7 people who I find the funniest, the sharpest? Like I wanted a certain quality to, and I was doing it selfishly. I was like, I'm trying to pick the sharpest tools to sharpen myself. I'm not going to pick just anyone. And so I remember kind of handpicking. I needed to find one person to have like immediate buy-in. And you'll learn this in marketing and business, is you need someone to withstand and create this like structure with you. And then you pitch and see who else would get buy-in. And then so I found my friend Lee, and he was like, yes, let's do this. Let's hustle. We created like the 5 to 6 week structure. And then we pitched it around. We pitched it around to 6 to 7 people, and 4 of them said yes. And then immediately after the class ended, we started, because we were not going to lose any momentum. And we essentially just took the class structure and we just kept repeating it. Every 5 weeks, you're pumping out a new story. And our main value was we needed quality people. Like quantity, we wanted to increase quantity of our storyboards, but we wanted to do it in a qualitative way. And then so we just took the sharpest people. And I up front, I told them, I'm like, I'm not the best one in this room, but I for sure can tell you that I will be the most improved, because I'm sharpening myself with these really sharp people. And so, it came out of selfish motives, but I'm glad that everyone kind of got a lot out of it. And it's grown, and now you're in it.
Yeah.
That's so
man,
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I hear about Abby, like, doing stuff like every week, or like, all the meetings like she attends, and I'm like, oh my god, story art is so cool. I watch from afar.
And quarantine, I feel like COVID and quarantine just took away all the structures that everyone was leaning on. So it was kind of this perfect time. I mean, Bernice was part of it. It was this like perfect time for us when we all felt like we were free falling. And I was like, all right, let me create this structure so that people could latch onto it and have some type of normal like growth. And then so
that I love that so much, because I love how you took initiative, because I feel like I'm kind of the same person where I need structure and I need like some sort of community as well, because that's the reason why I started like another figure drawing Discord, because I'm like, I need motivation to like work with other people and like learn, and I love that environment. And I'm so grateful that I had a chance to be part of that. You guys let me into the squad, because I don't like with the board I'm working on now, I feel like I would have given up a long time ago if I didn't have everyone being like, you can do it.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about Abby for a little bit. Because like two things. I am as someone who is high function, like just has high output, I'm really impressed by the structure that Abby create, because those are the things that I also create, and as I see her do it, and just kill it in social media, I'm learning from you, girl. Like I'm seeing you and I'll be like, oh, interesting. That's another way of doing it. And here's another person who functions similarly like me, but she's playing the game in a different like setting. And I've just learned a lot from watching you create these things on Twitter. Secondly, your storyboard animatic, it was so ambitious.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I think Squad came in and like kind of kept motivating you. But girl, like you kept going, and you kept like just every week like pumping out so many boards, and I'm just like, this girl is a beast. Like,
oh my god, this is not my episode, Tristan. It's about you. I'm sweating.
I'm just saying it as I see it, as someone who functions similarly. I think I have high respect for the output that you create.
That's me to you, though, Tristan. I mean, same to you. I feel like we can go back and forth forever because, like, you put so much. No, you. But like I said, Tristan is super fast. The knowledge that he always brings towards each meeting, the questions he always asks, like his critique is super, super valuable. I feel like he knows what I like. I love the environment of Squad because I feel like not everyone knows how to critique and what people are aiming for and what their goals are and how to help them the best. And I feel like Tristan is like, every piece of advice he gives helps you think about your story and like how and like ask questions, and it's so valuable. So that's why you should have Tristan on your crew, because he can help plus your stories and ask the right questions. Come on now.
Yeah, and I just say this to like all the artists listening. I think giving and receiving feedback is a skill.
Yes,
it is definitely not. It's not taught, but the more you get it, the more you learn how to like apply it. And then and that's one of the things that we wanted as we created Squad. But I think everyone needs to learn how to practice getting feedback and giving feedback, and actually what is efficient feedback. And so that's just a little thing for everyone.
Because, like, Abby and I have been watching this reality TV show. Literally, I bring it up just to laugh. We've been watching Ink Masters, ladies and gents. Have you been watching it?
I actually watch it too.
Oh, God. But it's so funny because we didn't, like, our roommate dragged us into watching it with them. And then the way they described it is, like, think of your classmates in art school, but those who don't really know how to like take in their critique and put them in one room, and
they're just all angry.
And they're just so angry, and it's so funny. But yeah, I like just you bringing like how to take critique and like, you know, receive it and give it. It is definitely a skill that is built
for sure.
Built up. It's a muscle you practice. Because there is a way you give it properly, and you can give it you give it constructively without like obviously like ripping apart the person, because you do it for their best interest. You want them to improve, and obviously when you want others to improve, you hope that they would, you know, give you the same like advice on your own work. So I just thought of it as you were mentioning.
And I think that's that's one of the things that separates amateurs and professionals is not necessarily your artwork, but your feedback. That's the. I mean, I've been in situations where I've hired people, and those are the things that I watch for. And I think that remains true whatever industry you're at. Is how do you receive and give feedback?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I feel like it's also a matter of respect as well, like when giving feedback, because if you just say, oh, it's good, that doesn't make the person I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to just hear that. If you say it's good, tell me like what are the strengths and what like I should keep on working on, because that is like what is really good in that piece. Like, oh, your comedic timing here is really awesome. I love how like you have some of these frames, like you don't overuse the frames, blah, blah, blah. You should keep working on that and strengthen that because that's your strength. Like, because that gives me something. Oh, it's like, oh, I kind of just use that as an experiment. I didn't think it was actually that good. But since you told me, maybe I should keep moving in that direction. And if I just hear, it's good, it's kind of like you should respect like the person who's like opening themselves up to critique, you know? So in both the good or the bad, it should help with their journey in their art as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
How's the you talked a little about the mentorship when talking about the work from home animatic. How has that been going with Jim?
Yeah, so around, it's funny, so in June, someone in Squad had sent out like, oh, Jim Mortensen is doing a mentorship, and I wasn't even using really Twitter at that point, but I was like, I'm just gonna go on Twitter, like reactivate it and apply, and then like did that, and then I got it. It started 2 months later, and honestly, it's the same value as like creating Squad, where you just need to always be in a room with someone sharper than yourself. And Squad was doing that, and then being in the room with Jim once or twice a month, that was another way to be sharpened. And so I feel like the amount of growth that I've experienced is due to Squad and Jim, because they've just, the feedback that they've given me and allowed me to like apply immediately was just such high caliber and was so specific to me that I was able to like grow from that pretty rapidly. And so, and he kind of goes according to like my timeline, and my timeline is kind of, I'm trying to like maintain how fast is production? Let's try to match that. And then so I for the first 6 months I just tried to pump a board out every like 5 weeks, which is what you would do in a production. And then so and then Jim kind of like just gave me feedback, which is awesome.
That's so cool.
Mentors are
I know.
great.
I want a mentor. I'm like looking longingly.
Everyone, any mentor is willing to mentor Abigail, please.
Yes. Yes, she is such a hard worker.
Anyway, I know like some people, like you said, are struggling with the lack of structure and also not being able to afford classes, because they're really like, the classes at CDA and Brainstorm School and CGMA are really helpful, but also they're super expensive. And do you have like any advice for them, like if they want to make their own like version of Squad or keeping up motivation?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, I think you have to be real with yourself as to how much you want to work in, and especially in the initial steps, because to launch something from nothing, or to launch something from like very little, is a lot of hard work to build up that momentum so that you're at high output for a while. And so know that like, have grace on yourself if you feel like you're not doing it as fast as possible, but just be consistent. I think consistency is key. I remember in between classes, I would just kind of like what you're doing with your figure drawing class, Discord. I would just every single day for an hour figure draw, or I'd watch something on YouTube on like on the production like system of animation, or I'd watch something where I'm like learning something, and I would just stay on schedule. But I'm also working full time, so I just have like a very small amount of time where I'm like, this is when I could function outside of work. And so I had a very strict schedule, and one of the first people that I met with in the industry, his name is Kenji Ono. He worked on like Avatar. He worked on Big Hero 6. Anyways, I got to meet with him in his office, and he sat down with me and he was like, I think you could do it in a year. And I was like, okay, like, what does that even mean? And I didn't really know what that meant. And that was the goal for a while, but I didn't make it. I couldn't break in a year. But I remember him saying, like, if you really, really want it, sleep 1 hour less and draw 1 hour more. And,
wow.
and like, that was really intense for me. And I did that for a while. I slept 1 hour less. I drew 1 hour more. And then eventually I just slept in, but kept
mood. That was me.
But I just maintained that drawing 1 hour more. So it was just kind of it was me knowing how I function and trying to maximize how I learn and how I can maintain high output. And so a lot of it is really knowing yourself and then finding people who can sharpen that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we place ourselves in groups and they're like-minded like-minded people. But sometimes you can only sharpen yourself so much because everyone is like-minded or everyone is in the same amount of quality. You need to place yourself under or next to people who are just so much sharper.
Yeah.
And so I think that was my goal is every single step, I need to always have someone sharper than me. And that's the only way I'm going to surpass my limits every single time.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah, sorry. That was like my verbal.
No, that is super.
Yeah. No, and it's what you said about like just knowing yourself and how you learn and how you take information. Honestly, like that's so important to keep in mind because you should understand how you what works best for you, because that would in the end it's how you would program yourself to get on that train and improve yourself and make it work for you, because your friend's method may not work for you, or it's really just looking into how you do your own work and actually analyzing your own process within you. Yeah, very important
for sure.
Anyway, I guess this is a good time to talk about the not as fun things.
Hey.
How's the job hunt going?
Okay, I feel like I have an advantage in regards to being so new into everything. I don't know what to expect. And so, I mean, I feel like I have been applying to everything, trying to interact with recruiters as much as I can. And how I've experienced it is the only way I've experienced it. So it's like a norm. And then so, I mean, it's for sure different than other industries. It's, a lot of it is being applying to the right thing at the right time, having talked to the right person, and maybe accidentally having met someone online, that's on that show. So many, it's like shooting an arrow in a huge dark room. And there's a target somewhere. you just shoot. And you just keep shooting. And maybe sometimes you'll hear the arrow hit something and it's like, oh, where was that? A recruiter? What? An email?
Accidentally hit a recruiter.
No, but it's I think that's my biggest frustration with the job hunt right now, especially as an international student, because everything about animation or hiring in animation is so timing based. I'm like, what if you're someone like me who does not have a lot of time? So I mean, I'm just again, I'm still shooting my shot, throwing as much as I can into the void as possible. But
sure.
no, I agree with the whole timing thing. It's You just have to be at the right spot when all the planets align and everyone sees that right application.
And there's a glimmer of hope. You better run as hard as you can to it. You don't wait.
Literally.
Oh, man.
And I think there is a certain level of resilience that you have to have to do this every single time. Because after we break, and we're gonna break in, I know it.
Yeah.
But once we do it, it's gonna happen again.
Yes.
And you have to be able to bring that resilience up. But that's part of the game, though, and that's just, see, I know that's how I function. That's how I think. It's like, all right, it is now in the equation. There is a huge void unknown every single time.
Yeah.
You leave a project, and so you just grit your teeth. And you're going to get tired. I think part of it is knowing when you're tired. Every single time I just pumped out the work from home animatic like 2 weeks ago. I sent it out. I was exhausted. After anytime I send out a email to recruiters, I'm exhausted because so much of my hope goes into this.
Yeah.
And I have to give myself at least a week to just like have fun, draw whatever I want, and then get back on. Like I know I have to get back on, but I'm very intentional in taking care of myself before that. And that means like I'm not just vegging or like on Netflix the whole week. I'm like making sure I'm recharging specific things. Like I'm talking to my friends about things, like I'm living life, I'm going to my favorite coffee shop and like just doing all this soul care, and so that I could go on for the next 5 weeks, then email the recruiters again and do it all over again.
I love hearing that though, because I feel like it's something I struggle with, of like taking a break and like resting and not always thinking about the job hunt, because I feel like burnout comes easily if you're always on the grind and not like taking care of yourself. So I think that's really good to keep in mind.
Yeah. And I mean, it's good skills to build now, because you know when we start, like when we break in, like that's just even a higher level of like you got the output is so high at that point.
Yeah.
And so I think creating structures now and okay, this is how I recharge. And so not lazy recharging, like intentional recharging. I think that's important.
Yeah, no. I've been trying to do that as well, like personally. Like recently I decided to take on less freelance work just because I needed to breathe for a bit, but also I've been trying like, on weekends. Weekends are my off time. I will check emails, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I have to like reply blah 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 blah. I'll check it, but it's not gonna be my first priority, because during weekends everything is gonna be about myself and taking advantage of me resetting, enjoying things I wanna do for myself. Like what will help bring in more life into my work if I don't live life, you know what I mean?
For sure. And I think I feel like the job hunt process is so individualistic. Like we only think of ourselves during that time. But I think for me, I don't know if you guys have ever done the Enneagram.
Yeah.
But I'm like a helper. I'm a 2. I need to serve other people. And that's a way for me to recharge. And so I make sure to take the time to celebrate other people as they job hunt, because I know that they need it. But I remember when people celebrate me when I'm like job hunting. And then so I just want to make it's a normal part of the process for me to make sure to reach out to people and be like, hey, you're doing good. Keep going, because I know this is hard. We're like, this is a we group. Like we are doing this. And when you break in, like I'm in your team. When I break in, I know that you're in my team. And I think the longevity of each person in the job hunt is also communal, not just individual. So
yeah,
I love that mindset. I love hyping people up on Twitter. You know me. I'm like, go higher.
That's something I really like with like people nowadays, especially for us, like, with our friends, we're so happy for like everyone who gets in or gets their first gig, or like even just like gets a really cool freelance project. We're so happy because it's a win for them. And like, wins for your friends or like your community, it'll be a win for you too. Like that feeling is just like so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Moving on to even more positive things. This is like the sky's the limit. You can list as many goals as you want. What are your dream projects / goals / aspirations?
Yeah. Oh, again, kind of the same thing. I'm so new to this that like I'm just, because I've just learned the production. I'm just like, I'm like building those dreams right now. But I just watched Arlo the Alligator Boy yesterday. And I just remember thinking like, I would love to work on this if there's like a show, season 2, or like something like this, where it's a musical, but also like something that just like talks about like diversity and like hard things that I think animation tends to not talk to with children. Or like, oh my god, the City of Ghosts.
Yes.
Like, I cried.
I think we all did. I think everyone cried.
I did not know that a TV show, an animated TV show, could heal me like that. Like,
so special.
It was so special, and I would love to like participate like in a show like that.
Yeah.
That's such a dream.
Yeah, to be able to, and honestly, so being an immigrant, one of the things that and having studied multicultural psychology in college, focusing on like immigrant interactions, something that I've always wanted to write a story, like a full story about, maybe shonen in the future, is to talk about the immigrant experience. And I've had this idea of like a family like moving, and I'll just say the Philippines for now, but from the Philippines to here. But then we watched a show from each of the family members' perspective, having to like saying goodbye, leaving, and then having to create like a new like life here. And so that's just something that I think is super, super fascinating. And watching the mom, like a matriarch, like have to say goodbye is very different than the dad. Very different than the grandma. Like the things that they say goodbye to, and the things that they bring are so different. And that'd be so cool to like create a show on.
Oh, I love that.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So one day that would be the dream like project, is to show the world like, hey, this is what we go through to learn a whole new world. These are the things that we bring. These are the things that we hold on to and have to say goodbye to, so that we create this new opportunity. The richness in that, I think, is so fascinating to me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Cool. So sweet.
And that's why you should get Tristan to help these dreams come true.
Yeah, get me started.
So lovely.
Stories.
Help me get my foot in, so I can create this in a few years, 10 years maybe.
Yeah. Let's do it. I would love to work on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But our final little question before we move on to our next corner is, me and Ariel are in this dream situation, we are hiring at AA Animation. And this is our final question before our decision. What can you bring to our company, and what sets you apart from the rest of the candidates?
Ooh, that is a good question. Okay. Well, what do I bring to the table? I think I bring so have you ever so there's this test called the Strengths Finders test. And you you take this test and it lists like 40 average, not average, like standard strengths that all of these CEOs and like entrepreneurs like exhibit. And I took it a few years ago, and one of my strengths is activator, which is simply to be able to step into a room, look at individuals, and be able to activate their skills and maximize what each person can and can't do. And then so I think if I step into a room, what I bring to the table is I'm able to work and adapt to each individual, and activate certain strengths that they wouldn't be able to do it by themselves, but I can help them achieve certain things. And at the same time, as I work with each individual in a team, certain things gets activated in me, and my quality and output just kind of skyrockets from there. And so, yeah, I'm highly adaptable, able to work with a lot of people and together just achieve a higher quality product.
Yeah.
I love that. Higher. Welcome.
We've been doing that.
Oh
Higher.
my gosh.
Oh, that's so nice. I'd love to be able to work with all the cool people we've talked to. It's just like, I don't know, getting to talk to so many people and like listening to them and like their craft and then what they love about what they do. It's just like, I want to work with you.
It's such a blessing.
We should one day have like a Hey Hire Us like meetup. And be like,
when the pandemic says we can.
What if, or let me pitch this again. Here's my activator coming. What if we create a mini studio? And just be like, all right, here's the things that like. What if someone pitches a project and you just have like a running list of people on Hey Hire Us who would maybe want to participate.
That'd be so funny.
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we will move on to our final corner, which is a new one.
Yes.
I guess in the season 2 of Hey Hire Us. And I guess the interview isn't over because the new corner is called Speed Interview, where we're going to ask you a bunch of questions. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I'm making the time less than Amy's because 5 minutes was definitely too much. Maybe 2. Should we do 3 or 2, Ariel?
I don't know. We can test it out. 3 should be fine. Let's do it gradually. Let's see how people react.
Okay.
I think 3's fine.
Wait, is this like fast questions?
Yep.
I just have to gut reactions?
Yeah, gut reactions.
Okay.
If there's like something interesting, we can like go over it at the end.
Sure,
or if it's
okay.
really, really interesting, we can just stop right there.
Because I'm a talker and I talk too much. And so.
Well, you're gonna have to bear down and hope that we get to that question at the end.
Okay.
Anyway, I will start and we'll go back and forth between me and Ariel, and the time will start in 3, 2, 1, go. Digital or traditional?
Ooh, digital.
Biggest artistic influence?
Right now, Natalie Nurgit.
Oh, so good. Thumbnails, roughs, or cleanup?
Oh, roughs.
Nice.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Proudest achievement?
Ooh, creating squad.
Yay!
Horses versus cars.
Wait, what? Horses versus cars?
Yeah.
Cars.
Cars, hell yeah. Favorite art tip?
Draw from life.
Nice.
Favorite animated and live action movie?
Animated. Oh, this is so hard.
You gotta go.
Wait, movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say a whisper in the heart. Is that by Ghibli?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I love that movie.
And then live action. I don't know. There's too
Okay,
many.
Okay, 3 favorite artists.
Ooh, like singers?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Whitney Houston. Silk Sonic right now.
Ooh, yes.
And Paris Nick. I think
Ooh,
this is
yeah.
his.
Nice. I love his work.
Yeah.
Funniest art mishap?
What? I don't know that.
Any funny art studio?
Any funny art story
Oh,
that has happened to you?
Not really.
Okay, you can
Very
skip.
fair.
I know.
Perspective or anatomy?
Perspective.
Okay. Hey, whoa.
What do you do when you're art blocked?
Ooh, I walk.
Nice.
Very nice,
Favorite
very
non-art hobby?
I read a lot.
Nice.
Drawing a 3/4 face or a solid color BG?
3/4.
Hell yeah. If your art was music, what would it sound like?
Yeah.
There you go.
Draw with music playing or a TV show playing?
Music, for sure.
Art block versus burnout.
Art block.
Color palette, warm or versus cool?
Warm.
Favorite storyboard pro feature?
Ooh, the camera.
Nice. That's me.
Favorite feature about your own art?
Ooh, the emotions.
Nice. Favorite thing to board?
Animals.
Amazing! We got 21 questions. All right, cool. Lit.
Nice.
That was great.
so
Wow,
much
was
that was
fun.
so hard.
I like this section.
This is so fun.
I also
love it.
don't know what context you're asking. Car
Yeah.
versus horse.
Yeah,
Like,
It's funny.
It could be
It's
anything.
funny.
it depends.
Car versus
Are we-
horse. I
Are
thought
we
of that. I
petting
was
it,
like,
or are we
'cause-
like?
listen, horses are so hard to draw. Horses have like 5 billion knees.
Oh,
So I'm
see,
also like,
I understood that as
What
like,
would
would
you-
you rather own a
Right.
car or own a horse?
either way can be interpreted in many ways.
Yeah,
like-
that's whatever your brain lands on first. That's how you interpret the question.
That's so funny.
That
Amazing.
was so much fun.
I like this section. We should.
That
keep
was
it
that was
forever.
great.
Yeah.
I'm like sweating.
Is there any question that you want to elaborate a little bit before we end, or?
No, I feel like I verbally vomited everything that I need.
Everything. That was great. The
Yeah.
raw Tristan.
The raw Tristan.
But yeah, this was so much fun. I had such a blast interviewing and talking with you, Tristan.
Oh, thanks for having me. I was so honored when you messaged me. I was like, Bernice's dreams are coming true.
Nisi, if you're listening.
Macy's biggest dream.
We did it.
You got me on the show.
I'm pretty sure I haven't told Nisi yet, so it'll just be a surprise when it comes out.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, this was very great. Where can people find you on the internet and hire you?
Yeah. So all of my social media handles is Tristan, OHTRISTAN. And then my website is tristancabral.com.
Nice.
So, but I mainly post on Instagram because I don't really understand Twitter.
That's very fair. Twitter is also very confusing. But yes, we will be adding all of Tristan's social media links and his portfolio to our little posts on the week of Tristan whenever this episode comes out. Also, how can people email you if they are interested and want to hire you?
Yes, it's tristan.cabral@gmail.com.
Lit.
It's also on my website.
Lit.
Go email, do it.
Yes. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. If you would like to follow Hey Hire Us, it is at Hey Hire Us Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And we also have Ko-Fi. If you would like to help us out with podcast hosting, it's ko-fi.com/Hey Hire Us Pod.
If you have a question or some feedback or an idea for a corner, you can email us at heyhireuspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you for
you,
listening.
Tristan.
Thank you, Tristan.
Thanks for having me.
Maraming salamat.
I'm just like, yeah.
That.
Yeah, we'll see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.